Hi, so to get us started today, I want to begin with talking about the hierarchy. I think really we can't begin to kind of organize our household unless we understand what a natural, healthy hierarchy looks like. And for a lot of us, we grew up potentially in an authoritarian hierarchy where there was one person who dominated over a little person, using fear or intimidation tactics to kind of garner control over that young person. And this is a really different kind of hierarchy. What I'm talking about is a hierarchy that's peaceful, that is intrinsically motivating in terms of that child wanting to follow the parent. It's not something I don't have to bribe them, I don't have to punish them or threaten them to get them to follow me. I want a hierarchy that my child both is interested in following because they like me and respect me and feel respected and liked by me. So there are some important things to recognize about your own household when it comes to the hierarchy. And here's what I personally had to learn a lot about. A, in a healthy hierarchy, the parents are supposed to be on top of the hierarchy. Now, when I say on top, it just means that they're kind of governing the scene. They're deciding on the flow of things, and they're helping kind of create order and make life feel good and providing food and all the things that you do. Anyway, you're on top and the child is underneath you, and that child is happily and relaxedly underneath you. Like they can relax knowing that you're at the wheel and you've got this. So in lots of households, what we have instead is a child. Let's see, here's parent on top, kid underneath. A lot of households, it's constantly flipped so that the child is actually on top and the parent is underneath. Now, you'll know that this is happening in your house, and let me say, it happens in every single house, sometimes, in a regular way. When the hierarchy is not healthy and stable, it's happening all the time. But when the child is in charge, then the parent is often feeling like an employee of the child or a hostage, or like they're dancing as fast as they can to try and get the child to be happy and pleased with their work. And the child is telling the parent that they're not quite there and they're not quite getting it right. The parent's often orbiting the child, doing their best to make sure they're pleased and happy. They're finding it really hard to please the child. There's power struggles, and often there's blowing up going on. So parents who know inside that they're supposed to be in charge, but somehow they're underneath the kid. The kid is running the show. And when the kid is running the show, the parent is on the inside is scared, is like, this is not what's supposed to be happening, but I don't know how to get it back. Now, I was this gal. I didn't know how to flip the hierarchy back. Well, a couple things I needed to know right out the gate was it was totally natural for my kid to want to try and flip the hierarchy. Child underneath, parent on top. Child wants to try and test to see if they can flip it. Their hope deep inside is that they cannot, that you'll be able to maintain the leadership, but they're destined and wired to test it. And if they can flip the leadership, they most certainly will, and you'll know it because you'll feel aggravated, irritated, and like you work for them. And that is a signal that you have an upside down hierarchy. So how do we flip it? Let's talk about it. I often say to people, an upside down hierarchy starts the second people's eyes open up in the morning and the parent is already primed and ready to work for the child. So they wake up the child and they say, hey Amber, it's time to wake up. I have breakfast on the table for you. And the child goes, I don't want your breakfast. And they pull their, sheets over their head and reject the breakfast, and then they say, like, get out of my room. So that is a very extreme example of a kid who's totally in charge of a family. And that parent then kind of tiptoes out and they're like, oh no, he's not really in a good mood. They try again, we try again. We're trying to catch this kid in the right mood. We're trying to get it just right. And that's not how we want to do it. We want to get you back in charge, and there's a couple important ways to do it. We're going to talk about 3 ways to kind of keep you in charge and help you kind of stabilize your hierarchy. Now, every single day, your hierarchy is going to get tippy like this. It's going to go sideways, and maybe it's going to flip upside down for a second, and then it's going to go back. But typically what we want to do is land with the parent on top, kid underneath. So how do we do that? 1, I want to make sure my kids understand that in order to receive services or goods from me, they will have to ask me for them. So this sounds controlling, and it is not meant to be controlling. It's meant to reinstate the hierarchy, the healthy hierarchy, over and over again. So that may mean child walks out in the morning and he says, I want some milk. And parent says, well, of course, which kind do you want? Do you want it warm or cold? Now, right away, child has been able to make demands or declarations, kind of an announcement of what he wants. And parent went right to work trying to figure out exactly what kind of thing that child wants. Now that is an upside down hierarchy. So let's just pause and rewind. Let's imagine that this parent now knows that in order to establish a healthy hierarchy right at the beginning of the day, they know they need to slow down and have their kid ask for the thing they need. So kid comes out, I need some milk, I want milk, hot, please. Still, we're working for them even with please. I'm going to be the parent that's putting the hierarchy back in place because it's a little wobbly right now. And I'm going to say, as soon as you're ready to ask for that, I am all ears, my love. So I'm not responding to the demand, to the announcement of what he wants or she wants, and I'm ready to hear it in the form of a question. So I'm going to let him know that. I'd like you to let me know your needs in the form of a question. And if your kid seems totally unsure what that means, you can give them the words. Mom, can I get some more milk, please? I often was just offering up the words to my kids so they had a sense of what they sounded like. They would come in the room, I want some cheese. And I'd just say, Mom, can I have some cheese, please? Almost like I was creating ambient noise, cueing them on how they could get me to respond. And until it came out in a way that felt good to me, I'm not responding. So I will respond if you make a declaration or an announcement by simply saying, do you want to rewind and start again? This time, put that in a form of a question and ask me for the thing you need. And almost instantly, in the moment that kid has to slow down and back up and formulate a question and wait for me to say yes or no, the hierarchy resets itself. So it goes from kid on top to parent on top. Parent on top gently, just deciding what they're going to pay attention to and what they're going to respond to before they just hop in to position of service. So that's kind of number 1. Number 2, when your kid is speaking to you in a way that does not feel good to you, by way of, it can be an announcement, a declaration, or a demand, but it can also just be a rude kind of way of speaking to you at all. You don't have to respond to that. You can absolutely, and 100% of the time, if you wish, turn your back on mean talk and wait out loud. You can say, I'm waiting for you to speak to me in a way that feels good to me. I'll wait. And I'm turning my back on them as a physical signal to let them know you don't get my attention when you get abusive or when you get, when you play rough. Mama, don't play rough. I don't want to play rough. So as soon as you forget, and everyone's going to forget, and everyone's going to test this, so it's totally fine and no big deal if they do. But I just keep myself on a swivel. As soon as you start talking to me in a way that feels crappy, I'm on a swivel. I think you may have forgotten how to speak to me. I'll wait. As soon as you're ready, I'm right here. and I'm just going to kind of go about my business and turn my back as a way to signal to them silently, I don't engage with that. And it is protective to me as well to do that, because most of the time when the hierarchy is upside down and the kid says something shitty to their, sorry, my screen just blanked out, and the kid says something shitty to their parent or in a tone that didn't feel good, the parent goes, don't use that tone with me. And they have just inadvertently given over all kinds of attention to their child. What we really want to do is know if it makes you cringe like this, or makes you feel like, ugh, you're not the kid I ordered. Like, if it feels bad, go ahead and turn it away. Or just say, I don't respond to that. You can restart, rewind, restart, and ask for what you need. That didn't feel good to me. I don't respond to that kind of stuff. So that's a boundary, but I'm also stating with that boundary that I need to be spoken to with respect. And I'm not going to say it, I'm going to show it. So when you are disrespectful to me, boop, on a swivel. I'm doing something else. When you're ready, this is the language I use, and I implore you to use it too. Looks like you forgot how to talk to me. When you remember, I'm right here. And you just turn around. So it's much less attention and focus on the kind of aggressive talk or rude talk. So let's see. A third way we can kind of just invite the resetting of the hierarchy. If your child enters the room and does say something sort of nasty or rude, or let's say you've asked them what they want for breakfast and they told you, and then they asked you even, and then you presented it and they're like, this is gross. I'm going to pause. I'm going to put my hand over my heart. Some people can do it like this, a fist, hand over their fist, or a hand over their chest and one hand on top. I'm going to take a deep breath. I want them to see me do this. Sometimes they're going to say, what are you doing? And I'm going to say, I'm taking a deep breath, because that could really throw me through the roof to have you talk to me like that. So I'm taking a deep breath and I'm stepping back. So that's my regulation. But my intervention is I'm going to have that bowl of oatmeal. Thank you. And you can go ahead and rewind and start the day again. Just how about you head back to your room and you just take a breath too, and then you start again. And this time, why don't you enter in a way that feels good to me also, not just to you. And I'll just hold this oatmeal here. So we've got a couple of little moves, just ways of peacefully intervening and getting that hierarchy such that parents are on top, kids are underneath. When that kid comes back in the room and says, Mom, I don't know what to say. I don't want oatmeal. You could say, oh, can I offer you the words? I don't care for this, Mom. Is there anything else that you'd be willing to make me? If they use those words, great. And then I'm happy to maybe help. I might even say, no, I can't make you anything else, but you're welcome to make something of your own. Thank you for speaking to me so respectfully, though. It's absolutely okay not to like what I'm making. It doesn't always mean I'm going to make you something else, but it always is imperative that you speak to me respectfully. So what I see in homes that have upside down hierarchies are kids who are free to speak to their parents in really, really aggressive and dismissive and disregarding kind of ways. That erodes that parent's confidence and makes them feel like they're kind of getting it wrong. And ultimately, it causes them to go kaboom. So this is a way of handling conflict little by little. When that kid comes right out in the morning, go ahead and address the hierarchy issue as soon as they come out. As soon as they've tried to kind of turn you into their employee, or make you feel like you're working for them, go ahead and just pause, reset the scene, have them go out, take the food, ask them to start again, and let them know you're totally comfortable to wait while they figure out how to do this. You're happy to cue them, it's no problem, but the service light is off until they can do that. Remember, life on a swivel. Boop. I'm in when you're speaking to me kindly and warmly and with respect, and I'm out when you're not. But the thing is, it's not a permanent out. I'm not punishing you. You're not in trouble with me, and I'm not going to be mad at you for the rest of the day. It's literally for this moment that you forgot. I'm headed offline. But as soon as you remember, I turn around and say, thanks. I love that. What is it you'd like, sweetheart? And that's how we kind of work with the moment of that hierarchy flipping. So let's play with it. We're going to keep working on this in parent school, and really you're going to get so good and confident at recognizing the moments when that hierarchy is going from parent on top, kid underneath, to like starting to get kind of wobbly and even starting to flip into child just took control of the reins. Enjoy.